This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Mimicking the box art can be a fun challenge, but inherently they always look the same. So what if I told you I came up with a new way to create one-of-a-kind, out-of-this-world space marines through the power of AI? Let's test and see. Can AI come up with better space marine concepts than Games Workshop? For our context, AI is a computer algorithm that takes written text and attempts to turn it into digital art. There are dozens of free AI generators online, several of which I tested for this video with varying degrees of success. Some had problems with my word choices. Some were actually too good. Red Angel Space Marine. That's just a blood angel. Then there's Dolly 2, which was actually too smart for this project. Oh. So how did some of these artworks get so close? Part of the AI generator's algorithm is to comb through images on the internet. So when I type in something Space Marine, it's pulling up images from, well, Space Marines. So instead, I'm going to try out a few less sophisticated AI generators, and I am not going to use the word Space Marine. After some more testing, I ended up on the mobile app called Dream. The renders are far more abstract, and though it is obvious that it's still pulling from the internet, I feel like it is giving me the flexibility to create something unique. Not that I'm upset by that. I would rather it pull from the internet than whatever this render is supposed to be.
What the heck is that?
I'm actually really impressed with these, and I wish I had more time to make a whole diorama instead of just a single Space Marine, because actually these scenes are really cool. But after getting your feedback on Instagram, I have decided to create the Black Templar Space Marine for this project. Let's go over figuring this image out together. I'm seeing a head, shoulders, pleated fabric down the front, and maybe something in the arm here. This is definitely not a dynamic pose. It looks more like he's standing over a battlefield watching the chaos below him. He also has this interesting shoulder over here and some indicator lights on his chest. Honestly, he's giving me a real Darth Vader vibe right now. Before we start building, let's take a minute to talk about Squarespace. Want to create a stunning website that keeps your fans up to date on your social media? Then you need Squarespace, the all-in-one platform for your web-based business and online presence. Cardamom and Mochi are deeply invested in my YouTube and online presence, and we're pleased that Squarespace's designs are easy to use, have great features like connecting to my social media, scalable image quality, and the ability to link print-on-demand services. With happy cats comes a happy life. So when you're ready to make your custom website, head to squarespace.com/lyla.mev and use the code lyla.mev to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Alright, back to painting. I've gone through my box of Space Marines and have come up with a game plan. The plan is to do the bottom half of this one with the top half of this guy. I like these legs as it has the fabric running down the middle, and this chest piece with the fabric off to the side, as well as the more generic chest plate. Then it's time to assemble all my pieces, pick out some arms, and add in the spikes. Kitbashing is generally not my favorite thing. Though it is really cool to see it all come together and have something totally unique, this project in particular is highlighting the limitations of the subject matter and this hobby. The AI just has the ability to create something that is so dynamic and fluid, and that's not any words that I would use to describe kitbashing. I am happy with how this is coming together so far, but I'm just really reminded of how much easier this would be if I was using different material. I'm starting by painting the armor a deep blue gray, as the blue will contrast nicely with the orange and red I'll paint in later. Then I'm covering the cloth with silly putty to keep that area from being hit by my blue paint, which would make painting my red more difficult. Next, I'm painting the cloth pink and red. Such colors are ideal for painting with an airbrush. The bottom part of this image has this red-orange at the bottom, which I'm going to take as orange object source lighting, which is apparently just a thing that I do these days. I'm going back over the areas I had already painted with a layer of white ink to act as a base for my orange paint, since orange is translucent. Then I'm slowly building up the orange from below with my airbrush. Lastly, I'm blending out that intense orange with a darker red as color loses saturation as it moves away from its source. Next is brushwork. The first thing I'm doing is painting the armor, because no matter how I decide to paint the rest of it, it's a black Templar Space Marine, so his armor is going to be blackish. I'm doing a combination of feathering and glazing to move from deep blue to a lighter gray. I wish I could give you a better tutorial, but honestly, I'm just winging it. Black is always hard, as you want it to look black while still adding in enough highlights to create volume. The trick is that you can't go darker than black, so black has to be your shadow. That means your midtone and highlights will actually be gray. Inspired by last week's video, I'm adding in edge highlights in the heavy metal style. I've been really enjoying painting Space Marines. Am I allowed to enjoy painting Space Marines? The surface area on these Space Marines is just the perfect size to get smooth gradations without being so large that I need to worry about multiple highlights. However, I am also not painting this like NMM, and I might change my mind if I had to. I'm looking at you, Neve Black Talon. To give my brighter elements a good base, I'm painting them in white first. I'm using these smaller details to tie in some of the more subtle color variations seen in this image, like pink, green, orange, and yellow. It's these shifts in color that help make this image interesting. The longer I'm looking at this artwork, the more I'm realizing that the armor is actually purple, not blue. So let's take some time and add purple back into the armor. Then more of my favorite step, edge highlighting. Edge highlighting helps differentiate elements from each other on the model. I always feel like edge highlighting really makes a model look complete. I'm not really feeling this orange, so let's paint it red instead. To paint this red, I'm using slightly diluted Green Stuff World paints. I know I wasn't a huge fan of them in the video I reviewed them in, but they are really perfect for glazing. For the mask, my plan was to use blue stuff and create a mold from this head here that sort of has this face guard. Well, the face guard was too big, the UV resin was too brittle, and in the end, I had to make a second mold and use green stuff off screen to get it all to work. But now the bit's hardened, I'm going to go ahead, again, cut away that extra material and glue it onto my model. I'm painting the head in a pale color to match the artwork, and then I'm painting the mask to match the rest of the armor. Again, remembering the black armor is more gray than actually black. Lastly is a few extra details to help it better match the artwork and bring it all together. A few bright white highlights, pulling that pink further up the armor, and some extra edge highlights. You get the idea. And here is what he looks like. So, can an AI create better concept art for Space Marines than GW? Yes and no. The AI definitely created something unique, but it looks like it belongs to the Chaos Army over Black Templar. I would use the AI to develop color schemes or as inspiration to sculpt a custom model. For right now, it's fun to play with, but kitbashing is not the best material to use. But let me know what you think. Is my AI-generated Space Marine better than the concepts that Games Workshop's coming out with? Alright, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, go join me over on Patreon. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.